One user, 10,000 API calls per second. Your service buckles under the load. Every other user gets errors. Not because your code is wrong, because you didn't build a gate. Rate limiting is that gate. 4 algorithms: fixed window, sliding log, sliding counter, token bucket. Each solves a different part of the problem. Each has a failure mode, the previous one doesn't. The interview question is which one to choose and why. The simplest approach: divide time into fixed windows, 1-minute windows. Count requests in each window. Request 101, rejected. Window flips, counter resets to 0. 1 Redis INCR, 1 expire. Done. Now here's the exploit. A client sends 100 requests in the last 30 seconds of minute 1. Window resets. They immediately send another 100 in the first 30 seconds of minute 2. Both windows see exactly 100 requests within limit. But in the 60 seconds spanning the boundary, you received 200 requests, twice your limit. Fixed window has no defense against this. The boundary exploit is closed by the sliding window log. Instead of a counter that resets at fixed boundaries, log every request timestamp. The window always covers exactly the last 60 seconds. No boundary to exploit. When a new request arrives, remove all timestamps older than 60 seconds. Count what's left. If under the limit, allow and log this timestamp. The window is always accurate, always exactly 60 seconds wide. The count is always correct. The cost: memory. One user at 100 requests per minute, that's 100 timestamps stored. Fine. A million users, 100 million timestamps in memory. Simultaneously. Accurate, but this doesn't scale to any real production system. What if we kept the accuracy of the sliding log without storing every timestamp? That's the sliding window counter. And it's what most production rate limiters actually use. Instead of timestamps, store one counter per fixed window. When a request arrives 30 seconds into the current minute, the effective count is current window requests 40 plus the weighted previous window. Weight equals overlap fraction 0.5. So 40 plus 0.5 times 70 equals 75. 75 requests under the limit. Allow it. No timestamps, just 2 integers per user. Is it perfect? No. It assumes requests were distributed evenly in the previous window. In practice, the error is small, usually under a few %, and the memory is 50 times lower than the sliding log approach. 2 integers per user versus 100 timestamps. That trade-off is almost always worth it. Every algorithm so far penalizes bursty traffic equally, but real users aren't robots. A developer testing their integration might fire 50 requests in 2 seconds, then nothing for 10 minutes. They are not abusing your API. Token bucket handles this naturally. The bucket holds tokens, capacity, the maximum burst you'll allow, refill rate, how fast tokens come back. Each request consumes 1 token. Tokens available, request allowed. Bucket empty, 429. When the user goes quiet, the bucket refills at the configured rate. Next burst, tokens are ready. AWS API Gateway uses token bucket. Stripe uses token bucket. The reason? It separates two concerns that the other algorithms conflate. Burst capacity, how many at once. Sustained rate, how many over time. You set both independently, and the algorithm enforces both simultaneously. The algorithm is the easy part. Where the counter lives is where most teams get it wrong. In-process counter. Each server tracks its own count. You have 10 servers, limit is 100 per minute. A client sends 100 requests to each server. Every server accepts all of them. Each one sees only 100. Total request actually served 1000. Your limit was 100. You've been bypassed. The fix: one shared counter in Redis. All servers increment the same key. Redis INCR is atomic. No race condition even with 10 concurrent servers. The overhead: 1 millisecond per request for the Redis call. That's the price of correctness. It's worth every microsecond. 4 algorithms, 4 trade-off profiles. Here's how to read the table, and more importantly, how to pick the right one in an interview. Fixed window, simplest to implement, lowest memory. The boundary exploit makes it unsuitable for any API where the limit actually matters. Sliding log, exact accuracy, too much memory for production at scale. Sliding counter, the practical default. Low memory, close enough accuracy, no burst. Token bucket, best all around. Low memory, exact, allows bursts, and the parameters map directly to real business requirements. Capacity equals maximum burst. Refill rate equals sustained throughput. Recommendation: token bucket for any API that serves real users. Real users burst, robots don't. Sliding counter for internal rate limiting where you want strict per minute enforcement and you know the traffic is steady. The interview question: design a rate limiter. Before you draw a single box, ask what you're limiting. Per user, per IP, per API key. The answer changes the key structure in Redis and the data you need from the request. For most APIs, token bucket backed by Redis. Request arrives, you identify the client. Atomic decrement on their token bucket in Redis. Tokens available, pass the request through. Bucket empty, return 429 with a retry after header telling them exactly when to retry. That header matters. It's the difference between a client that backs off gracefully and a client that hammers you with retries. The trade-off to name explicitly in the interview. Centralized Redis gives you accuracy at the cost of 1 millisecond per request. You could use local counters with periodic sync for low latency, but you lose exactness. State this trade-off. Interviewers aren't looking for the right answer. They're looking for evidence that you've thought about what you're giving up. Next, how Slack rebuilt their message store. 6 billion messages, 2 years of migration, 0 downtime. The engineering decisions behind moving that much live data without users noticing. Subscribe.